You make New Orleans great.
Charles Ziwi, Beverly Carr, Buddy D with sports, and Dan Milham, the weatherman. This is NewsCenter6 Tonight.
Good evening. New Orleans police tonight are investigating a possible link between a wild chase on the interstate and a slaying near the St. Bernard housing project.
One man is dead and another is in jail. As Len Cannon reports, the shooting spree, which made rush hour traffic tonight a nightmare for thousands of people, began when police responded to a homicide call.
The chase began around 4:30 after police responded to a shooting at 2620 Castiglione. Upon arrival, police say they were fired upon twice by a man later identified as Freddie Jackson, driving a 1978 Cutlass Oldsmobile. Police chased Jackson onto I-10 westbound. Near Causeway, Jackson drove westbound in the eastbound lanes before returning to the westbound lane near Clearview. It was then police fired shots that hit Jackson's car. Jackson tried to make a U-turn near Williams Boulevard and crashed into a police vehicle and another vehicle. The passenger, 54-year-old Wilma Miller of Metairie, was slightly injured. Jackson then jumped out of his car and took off. Within minutes, he was found in the back seat of a police car. Meanwhile, police found 24-year-old Paul Mitchell dead of a gunshot wound in front of his home at 2626 St. Bernard Avenue, just around the corner from where the chase began. Police say it definitely was not a stray police bullet that struck Mitchell, because police did not fire at that location. Police blocked the westbound lanes of I-10 between Williams and Veterans as they searched for the weapon Jackson allegedly threw out the window before he crashed. Jackson faces charges of traffic violations, attempted murder, and possibly murder. Len Cannon, NewsCenter6.
And just moments ago, policemen believe they have found Jackson's pistol alongside of the interstate, and they expect to open the interstate traffic westbound completely within a little while.
Not guilty is the verdict in the second-degree murder retrial of a former New Orleans policeman who admitted killing a teenager during a high-speed chase 3 years ago. Pierre Degree reports on the end of Stephen Rozier's trial in Lafayette.
At a post-trial celebration minutes after an all-white jury acquitted him, Stephen Rozier donned a T-shirt, sipped a beer, and reflected on what has been a controversial and tragic incident.
I really didn't have any thoughts. I was just hoping that they'd come back and vindicate me, and they did.
Now you get on with your life, huh?
That's it. From here, I'm going to try and get on with my life. You know, that's what we're going to do this weekend. We'll probably go home and celebrate.
We're going to have a happy Thanksgiving. A very happy Thanksgiving.
For Gerard Glover's mother, Rozier's acquittal reopened old wounds.
It's unexplainable what I feel. I could not tell you what I feel. The hurt is too deep to explain. There are not words enough to say what I feel.
Prosecutors had urged the jury to convict Rozier of fatally shooting Glover during a chase on the Palmetto Overpass, August 31st, 1983, arguing Rozier lied and covered up facts about the incident to stay out of jail. But Rozier's attorneys argued the shooting was justified, warning jurors not to convict based on admissions concerning a drop gun placed at the scene to make it appear the fleeing youth had been armed. A malfeasance charge lodged against Rozier back in 1983 has already prescribed, and he cannot be tried on that. Prosecutors, however, say they are taking a wait-and-see attitude on charging Rozier with perjury in connection with his trial testimony. Pierre Degree, NewsCenter6, Lafayette.
Gulf Federal Savings Bank has been ordered closed tonight for insolvency. It will reopen tomorrow under the management of Pelican Homestead. The federal government has filed a $25 million lawsuit. It charges 15 Gulf Federal officers and former officers with negligence in the handling of at least 11 multi-million-dollar loans. Leslie Hill has details.
Officers from the Federal Home Loan Bank Board and Federal Savings and Loan Insurance Corporation, or FSLIC, converged on the 4 Jefferson Parish offices of Gulf Federal Savings Bank and shut them down, saying Gulf Federal was insolvent and officers had repeatedly broken bank board regulations.
It had numerous problems here. There were regulatory violations. There was poor underwriting practices and appraisal problems that basically caused the insolvency.
News of the government takeover shocked Chief Executive Officer and founder John Mamahat, who says the government doesn't know what they're doing and they're wrong to do this. Mamahat charged a $25 million lawsuit filed by the government is unjust and unfair in its attempt to recoup Gulf Federal losses it claims Mamahat and 14 other savings bank officers caused. The lawsuit claims officers and directors made loans principally for the purposes of generating fees for themselves or for firms in which they had interests. Mamahat's law firm was the general counsel for Gulf Federal, which is the 7th savings and loan seized in Louisiana this year. A Pelican Homestead management team will operate the institution until a permanent solution can be found. Gravely wants to assure all depositors that their money is safe and the bank will open for business as usual tomorrow. Leslie Hill, NewsCenter6, the Jefferson Bureau.
State troopers will again be sent to New Orleans to help out next year with police duties during Carnival. An agreement was reached today between New Orleans police and state police officials to station about 50 troopers in the city for Mardi Gras. It will mark the 7th year in a row that state policemen will help out with patrol duties throughout the city. The costs will be picked up by the state. The city of New Orleans next week is expected to sign a contract turning over garbage collection in the entire city to a private contractor. American Waste and Pollution, which already collects garbage in Algiers and New Orleans East, will be given an additional 5-year, $4.9 million a year contract to handle garbage pickups throughout the city. It's a move that will save millions.
We'll reduce our costs by $3 million a year, $2 million a year the first year due to we have to pay out terminal leave to our employees.
An estimated 80% of the city's sanitation fleet needs replacement. The new contract will put a new fleet of trucks on the road and close 2 old and unpopular transfer eyesores at St. Louis Street and on 7th Street uptown. Of the 250 city sanitation workers, 100 will be hired by American Waste and the remainder given a chance at early retirement or possibly being placed with other city departments.
They have about 100 positions to fill, and they've indicated that they'd like to fill as many of them with our people.
Although the city will save money, the contract is controversial and is being criticized for the speed with which the city acted.
What concerns me about it is I'm not so sure of the cost of it. They indicated that we're going to save money, and I'm not convinced yet that we're going to save the money.
One sidelight of the new contract will be that unlimited trash collections, which were halted because of budget problems, will now be resumed. And the new company will take over collections in January.
In a satellite broadcast, Congressman Billy Tauzin tonight officially entered next year's governor's race. Political reporter Clancy Dubose reports from Thibodaux. Tauzin says Louisiana must rescue itself from its troubles.
It could have been called the Billy Tauzin Hour. 60 minutes of politics and local color beamed around the world by a satellite from the Thibodaux Civic Center. But if the logistics of Tauzin's announcement were complicated, his message was simple.
It's because Louisiana ought to keep its promise that tonight I announce my candidacy for governor of the state of Louisiana.
Tauzin promised a clean campaign and a clean administration, but he made no mention of what may become an issue down the road, his old friendship with Edwin Edwards, who still says he's running for re-election. That's a claim Tauzin disputes.
I'm totally convinced he's not running, and anybody who really believes he's running is not a student of polls nor of political figures. Edwin Edwards is not happy in his job. You know it and I know it.
Tauzin is certainly expected to be one of the front runners in this race for governor. And as for Edwards, well, all we can assume is that if Tauzin is in, Edwards must be out. Clancy Dubose, NewsCenter6, Thibodaux.
Ahead on NewsCenter6 tonight, another heart transplant in New Orleans.
And St. Bernard Parish workers face a weekend of worrying if they'll have jobs Monday.
You know, there are a lot of reasons I shop at Walmart, but I guess one of the biggest reasons is I've always loved their great selection of name brand health and beauty aids for my family and me.
And now through Saturday, you'll find special savings on the products you use most. Get tartar control gel, mint, or regular flavor Crest toothpaste in the 6.4-ounce size for just $1 now through Saturday.
Walmart, I can always count on you to help me save money.
That's real savings. That's the Walmart way.
3.9% money now at Lamarck Ford. $3.9% money now at Lamarck Ford.
There must be a reason why he's still the #1 car and truck dealer in Louisiana.
There is, because these days, you gotta get the most for your dollar. American.
We get seafood right from the Gulf, fresh and natural. And the perfect way to fry it? With fixings fresh and natural, like Louisiana fish fry for a crisp, golden crust, and Louisiana vegetable oil, good and hot, for a flaky, moist inside. C'est si bon. Nothing better. Louisiana fish fry has a fishing boat on the box, just like Louisiana oil has a white farmhouse. Louisiana fish fry and vegetable oil for perfect fried fish, fresh and natural.
Celebrate the holidays with Bruce's and enjoy the freshest tasting part of the yam, the sweetheart. Bruce's, yams peeled down to the sweetheart.
The possible suspect in a rash of Metairie burglaries is behind bars tonight. Jefferson Sheriff's deputies arrested 25-year-old Ronnie Berryhill of 5600 Airline Highway and booked him for 2 counts of burglary. Deputies found Berryhill carrying $10,000 worth of jewelry. Investigators say 45 burglaries have occurred in Metairie this month.
State Attorney General Billy Gus said tonight he will continue his legal fight against overspending by St. Bernard Parish police jurors, even as layoff and cutback plans are put into action. Willard Shepard reports.
Many St. Bernard Parish employees spent the day wondering how much longer they will be on the job. Their concerns surfaced Thursday when police jurors gave the Secretary-Treasurer, V.J. Daughtry, the authority to cut expenses $150,000 per month. Daughtry says no workers at the parish courthouse will be laid off. But on Monday, some of these workers at the police jury building expect to get the bad news. When leaving work, none of them would talk on camera. Daughtry spent the day meeting with officials from the Attorney General's office. He believes the action taken will cause Billy Gus to drop the lawsuit filed against jurors for alleged overspending.
I assured her that we were making what we felt were the necessary cuts in order to make sure we were in balance this year and make sure that we would meet our expected revenues for 1987.
But tonight, Gus said even if jurors officially cut the budget Monday, he may seek a judge's order prohibiting any overspending in the future. Willard Shepard, NewsCenter6.
51-year-old Mississippi pipe fitter is in critical but stable condition at Oxnard Hospital this evening after becoming Louisiana's 13th heart transplant recipient. John Ford of Sandersville, Mississippi, received the heart of a 32-year-old Mississippian in an operation this morning.
A pediatrician who is also a photographer is featured in the conclusion of Leslie Carday's series Career Chameleons.
Captured in stunning contrasts of black and white, the majesty and serenity of the surroundings almost speak to us. A moment frozen in time. Although the backdrop now is that of local artist Darrell Brown, that will all change on January 3rd when Dr. Nathan Kern will have his first photographic gallery show